Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring SONJA Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Good evening, everybody. We're back with NFL Download. Good evening, Jay Train. How are you tonight, brother?
Sonia, I'm great tonight. I'm excited about these last couple of games of football, these last 2 weeks, and I hope you're doing well too.
I'm doing well, and as you guys know, we came on. Download the Roku app. Shout out to Mac and Linda over there, the great producers at Northeast Professional Sports. Mac, we miss you. Can't wait till you're back to 100%. He's the normal host. I'm blessed once again, that J Train would do me the honor of co-hosting with him on tonight. And y'all know what we do. We always recap this afternoon's games. But before we go any further, we'd like to express our condolences to the family of President Jimmy Carter, who passed away this afternoon around 3:45 Eastern Standard Time in Plains, Georgia. He was from South Georgia, and he was 100 years old. If you all remember, he turned 100, I think it was last month. We're just can all be so blessed to have lived a life so fulfilled. And so, of course, with him being one of the greatest presidents in our nation's history, we do want to extend our condolences to the family, his grandson, and all of those who are affiliated with the Carter Foundation. So with that, we'll go ahead and go into our sports. J Train, I'm just here to follow your cues. And so with that, I'm going to let you go ahead and take us to the top.
Well, for right now, let's start with the scores. Green Bay right now just scored a touchdown. They were down 27-10. They just scored a touchdown. Now they're 27-18 with 6 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. And then, of course, right now, Miami looks like did Miami win the game?
Is that game over? I was watching it. It was such a septic tank fest.
Yeah, it's we're not really excited about that, but we want to just keep fans up to date here. I just can't see the score.
No score versus DTR filling in for Jameis Winston, who had been benched. Looks like right now the Fins that game is 2 minutes, 46 seconds left. Cleveland 3, Miami 20 is probably going to wrap on up. Not quite the 2-minute warning, but unless there is like a big miracle, including some picks, Miami will solidify their win without Tua at the helm against the Cleveland Browns. DTR, no surprise there. And I think that will eliminate the Browns from playoff contentions if they lose this game.
I think they were eliminated weeks ago. Miami was the team that has some slim hope. So they still have some slender hope, but they're going to need help. They're going to need to win out and need some help from the other teams. But the NFL, Sonya, right now looks like they're it seems like a fast food because they're dishing out 40 burgers all over today.
Oh my God, can you believe that? I put it in the group chat, like, what is the deal with 40 today? Like, y'all, people that know me know into numbers, so I always like 4, and then you got the O behind it. And I mean, I don't know if it's the end of 24 or what, but like they are putting up, like they are breaking Vegas's records for the point spread today.
These teams right now are in the mix trying to make sure they either get into the playoffs or get the proper seeding that they need for their teams. As with Buffalo, we saw what Buffalo did to the Jets. We'll start with that one. That was a 40 burger day. It was 14-40. Buffalo just creamed the Jets, right? Man, it just looked pretty bad. And they not only did they cream them, they solidified the number 2 seed in the AFC. So they will play in it. They won't get the bye, but they will stay at home the first round and the second round if they win out until they get to the AFC Championship if they do get there. So kudos to them.
Yeah, good evening to you, Matt. Thanks for joining us as always. I'm Matt Henry over there. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was on the sideline looking like he had gas. Like they almost got routed. Like they only scored at the last of that game.
Correct. And it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. He threw 2 interceptions. Tyrod Taylor came in and threw a couple late. I mean, the game was over by then. Those 2 touchdowns were pretty much when the defense let up for Buffalo. James Cook had 53 yards. Josh Allen. I mean, they didn't do much. They just turnovers and fumbles and touchdowns by Josh Allen. And he's going to shut it down. They're not going to play the last games. Once you get this number 2 seed, there's no need to play. But you go ahead. I'm sorry.
And no. Don't forget, Teddy Two Gloves is supposed to be signing to the Detroit Lions as backup quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, y'all, is who we're talking about. The rumor is, if he has not already signed, I probably need to check that. This was a couple days ago. He was supposed to be signing as a backup to the Lions in case they need it. So they are definitely, I don't know, this Vikings game is coming down to the wire with like 5 minutes left. That's still a lot of time, a little over 5 minutes. It's a claw fest against the Green Bay Packers NFC North matchup. This game has monumental positioning for not just these 2 teams in the playoffs, but the rest of the NFC, J-Train, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Philadelphia just won their game as well, another 40-burger, and they would need Green Bay to win and to give them help to trying to get up to closer to the number 2 seed or not the number 2 seed. They'll at least get the number 2 seed, because the problem with the NFC North is that you have 3 teams, but only one of those can win a division. Yeah. And even with the standout record like Minnesota and Green Bay, if they don't win a division, they're going to be the 5th and 6th seed, which stinks, so they'll have to travel, but there'll be excellent teams to travel.
The AFC right now, playoff picture, Kansas City, of course, 15-1. Oh my God, it looks like they're going to do it again, J-Train, because I really don't know of any team that can be that dominant on the field. I mean, I want to say Buffalo, but we've seen Buffalo look very subpar against the New England Patriots. I know they were coming off of a very busy week and a short turnaround between games and some travel or whatnot. But I don't know. Buffalo is right on their heels. They're 13-3. Then Baltimore is 11-5. And then Houston's still hanging there because they're claiming their division 9-7. But the wild card is Pittsburgh at 10-6. I can't believe they lost that many games. That didn't feel right. The Chargers 10-6. Welcome back Jim Harbaugh to the NFL. And Denver still dangling in there at 9-7. And in the hunt, you still got the Bengals at 8-8. They're splitting right down the middle. And Miami, with this win, will stay in. They will be 8-8 as well. So big AFC playoff picture. That at some point will meet these NFC contenders.
Well, look, I heard you mention Pittsburgh and their 10-6 record. The last 3 games was a tough stretch for them. They played Philadelphia, they played Baltimore, and they played Kansas City. So they've had a really tough going. They lost all 3 of those games. But those are 3 top Super Bowl contenders that they played against. So like you said earlier today, I like Pittsburgh to be a dark horse. I think they have an opportunity to get better and be a scary team to play early on in the wild card game and potentially a divisional round. So don't knock them out just yet. I think they might have hit their ceiling. And again, they played against 3 of the best teams in their last 3 games, and they lost them all. And a couple of them were close, I think. But let's get back to Buffalo. I want to go over that game just a little bit more, because again, they won their second seed, and they're going to shut everybody down. But what's going on? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, he just looked totally abysmal in this game, but he's been looking abysmal most of the season. And there's really nobody to blame. You don't have the coach, Robert Saleh, to blame anymore. I mean, you got your wide receiver that you needed in Devontae Adams. What's wrong? What's wrong with this team?
I mean, let me just be honest. We always talk about it. I think Aaron Rodgers is probably the most non-liked, I'll say that word, player right now because of how he came in and tried to like powerhouse this organization. He didn't just come in and lose a few games and everybody was like, wham, 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 it's Aaron Rodgers, what's happening? He came in and cost the man his job. He got rid of the coach under his power. You know, they always talk about the power of the quarterback. You think the general manager or the coach or who, you know, some of the captains or what have you have the power, but no, these quarterbacks are like, hey, I could tank this whole organization if you don't do what I say. So he went in there with this same mentality he did in Green Bay a few years ago when he got McCarthy fired. I never forgot that. He got him fired on his birthday, on Aaron Rodgers' birthday. And everybody on the announcers was talking about it. You know, there's some rumblings, and this was before he got fired during the game. It's rumored that, you know, McCarthy, this is his last game, and today's Aaron Rodgers' birthday. And sure enough, that's what happened. Tomorrow is Black Monday, J Train. Tomorrow is Black Monday. We are here. Christmas is over. We are hours from 2025. And now that the holidays are wrapping up and we're, you know, January 1st, it's okay. Happy New Year, January 2nd, business as usual. Aaron Rodgers needs to go. He is toxic. He is as green as that suit is, stick emoji. And so I feel like he's blackballed himself. Who, you know, your name used to mean a lot, but now your name means toxic. I mean, I can't help but to think in the preseason, you're not even there with your team. You're on somewhere smoking mushrooms. And let's not even talk about just that point. Let's move it further back where there was a mandate about the, you know, the needle action, and you lied about it. You said you were under this supposed medicinal care that was equivalent to this, and you lied. And so the fact that you lied, you'll do anything. I mean, it's like our grandmothers told us. If you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. He's killed that locker room, J Train. He's killed that organization. The Jets had way more talent before he came. They could have gone into the draft, gotten them a quarterback, and kept it pushing P. He got Devontae Adams over there, Mr. Taco Bell himself, who's toxic from the Raiders. Now you got two toxic people running the locker room. Sauce Gardner wasn't even suited up. I don't even know what's going on with these guys. They got more injuries than ever. And some of that I think is mental. We always talk about mental health being number one. That is still an illness. And you think about in the league, if you're not performing better than your best, you're hated by your teammates and you're hated by the fans. So at any given time, you could be like, hey, I'm just not performing. You're mentally sick because of all this toxicity around you. We got a few comments before you chime back in, J Train. My apologies about the longevity.
Well, go ahead.
So Matt Henry says Denver's holding the key to the last playoff spot. They got to beat Kansas next week. Kansas City. Then he said Minnesota's going to win next week and get that number one seed. And then Karen Belk, hello to you, Karen. Hi, Karen. Panther, she's also a bunch. She's a really football head. Karen, we're still waiting to get you on, maybe in 2025. She said, yay, Philly, like Jordan Love, but kind of pulling for Sam. Amazing how he's done so well with great support. Yeah, we talk about, J Train, you and I've talked about these quarterbacks that go and ball out like Sam Darnold is, and just breaking records left and right. But yeah, that's what I think the problem is.
Well, let me tell Matt Henry, we got to pump the brakes on Minnesota because they just let Green Bay score another touchdown, and there's about 2 minutes left, and I think they're like 3 points away from tying the game, but they don't have the ball yet. Minnesota's got to close this out, but the game is close now. He's even closer now.
And hi, Captain Jack. We'll be on until 8 p.m. 8 p.m. I know he played the Saints. Yes, he played the Saints today. He want to come on here and brag. He don't have the link. Don't worry. Don't worry. And so, yeah, I mean, and Karen says she cannot pull for the Falcons tonight. Exactly, Karen. Let's be clear.
None of us, Karen. None of us.
She's gonna be a real Karen tonight, okay?
All right. So I agree with you about Aaron Rodgers, and who knows what the future will hold for him. But I'm pretty sure with you, if the organization doesn't move on from him, it's more toxicity in store for their future. But on to another 40-burger game, and we're talking about Dallas versus Philadelphia. Man, it was so many implications for this game. But Dallas, they didn't look. Jalen Hurts wasn't playing for Philly. CeeDee Lamb wasn't playing for Dallas. But there's still way more weapons on the Philly side, and it showed. And Saquon was a lot of implications in this game. One, to get the division for the NFC East title was in store for the Eagles, and also Saquon Barkley is on that train trying to get that 2,000 yards, and he got 2,005, ladies and gentlemen, today, and he needs 101 to break Eric Dickerson's record,
And
which is
when is he gonna break it? When is he gonna break it, J Train?
and he's going to break it when he plays the team that let him go the last game of the season. When he plays the New York Football Giants, the Tinies, as you like to say, must feel really small right now for having this. Is like you can't make this kind of story up. This seems like this is a script. I mean,
Yes.
come on. How do you're going to break a record and you're playing in Philly. You're not playing in New York. You're playing in Philly. And so they look, I'm pretty sure they got pride, but I don't know if they're going to stop him on this one. I think he's going to break the record, and Philly's going to ride off into the sunset and try to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so I gotta address two comments and then I gotta hurry and say what I gotta say about that game. Hi, Melvin. What's up? Truth be told, you guys check him out. He's on the west side and he's on all the affiliates as well. Thanks, Melvin, for jumping on today. And of course, Captain Jack talking about, yeah, he gonna jump on, but he don't have a link. You watching my Panthers live at Tampa. So Captain Jack lives in Tampa, but he's a Raiders fan. I all but feel like bringing him on, but we will not get the show wrapped up. Captain Jack, we'll have to have you on next year. Okay, that's right around the corner. We know you want to get on here and brag about your Raiders. I mean, what is that? 3 games you guys won?
There's 4 now. Yes.
Let me get my hand clap ready. There you go. And yeah, the Panthers look bad. I don't even know, Captain Jack, what to say about that. But congratulations to you. And Karen saying Saquon for MVP for her opinion. Okay, and she got the little green heart. Okay. So listen.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Heads are going to roll about this whole Giants fiasco. We always said it during the whole season. We were like, why would they let freaking Saquon go and keep Daniel Jones? Well, now you don't have Daniel Jones because he bummed out so much that you guys dropped him to like 4th backup. And then he wanted to be out. He's in freaking Jacksonville playing in the place of Trevor Lawrence right now, playing like he always do. But Hard Knocks has a way of spilling your business. So for all of y'all watching Hard Knocks on Prime and all that stuff, the general manager was up there in a conversation that was recorded that they basically had an opportunity to pay Saquon or Daniel Jones. And they chose Daniel Jones. And they traded Barkley to their freaking division rival, who you knew last year was going to be Super Bowl contenders. They were almost good until they started crashing. Like they already had the people in place to get where they needed to go. So 3 things. Saquon just broke this record. He could have broken it with y'all, New York, but you let him go. Saquon's playing for a very solid Super Bowl contender, Philadelphia Eagles. That could have been y'all, New York, if you just gave him a good quarterback, but you didn't. And number 3, he's y'all's rival, and he's balling against you guys. And when he hits this record, just as the AI generated schedule would have it, it's against the team that released him. So at any cost, if he had to come out there in a wheelchair and break that record, I believe against that team, he would use his arms and roll those yards if he had to, just to get back in New York for letting him go. Philly crushed Dallas, yeah. Oh, Captain Jack says it's harsh. You want to bring him on?
No.
Right. Panthers are so disappointed. Karen, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Oh my God, I can't even talk about it. Not true. Mac Jones is in Jacksonville. Where's Trevor Lawrence playing? That is Jacksonville.
No. Matt Jones, right?
I'm sorry. I said Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel's not down there. Matt Jones is down there. Yeah.
Wrong Jones. Okay, but nonetheless, he ain't in New York. For the Patriots. That's right. All right, go ahead, J Train.
Saquon hit 2,005 yards, and he had 167 yards in this game. And against the Giants, if they don't shut him down, I think he's not only going to break the record, he's going to make it even bigger than what it was. It's going to be maybe 2,200 yards instead of 2,105. So, look, hats off to Saquon Barkley and Karen, or was it Karen said he's for MVP?
Yeah.
Yes, look, he's in that mix. Him, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen are in the mix, and they're all playing great. If any one of them win, I wouldn't be mad at it because it's just they all deserve it.
Just don't
All
give it to
three of them.
Patrick Mahomes, please.
No, he's not going to get that. He's not going to get that.
Ugh.
Now, with that said, Dallas, Cooper Rush. Look, they had Cooper Rush had I think what was it?
Excuse me, J Train, small interruption. 2-point game with 2 minutes
Yes,
left. Packers 25, Vikings 27. We got to interrupt this to let you know this is the 2-minute warning, and this is a 2-point game.
yes.
Green Bay has clawed their way back.
But Minnesota still has the ball. They're 2nd and 11, and they're on their own 41.
They have 2 timeouts. Green Bay has all 3 timeouts. Wow.
Good catch. Looked like they're depending on their clutch receiver in Justin Jefferson. Now it's
Mr. Gritty
third
himself.
and 1. It's about 3rd and 1.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't stop him here, they get a first down. The game's over.
Oof.
Yeah.
We're
Look,
always on here right at the end of one of these nail biting games. It's so much fun, and we're so grateful for all of you all coming on with the comments, the love. Happy holidays, y'all. This is our season finale of NFL
yes.
Download. And Cap,
Look
we're gonna
here.
see you soon. He said, take care. You too. We'll be talking. He said, look at the year, Brock Bowers. That's not
You know
too
what?
bad.
It's a possibility. He broke Mike Ditka's record. It's been like 63 plus years, and he got over 1,000. I think 1,164 or something like that. Some odd numbers. He had over 100 receptions. So Brock Bowers was a great pick for them, and then they got the other tight end in Mike Myers. So if they can get some other stability in the coaching quarterback position, they got some potential there. It
Yeah.
definitely beat our Saints, man. Look, I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's move on to the next game. Let's talk about. I was gonna wait and leave our games to be the last games because I know it's kind of rough
It's
talking
gonna
about.
be a blur. Exactly.
Yes. Let's talk about. Let's talk about Tennessee and Jacksonville. That was the Turd Bowl. So look, both teams were 3. That's why I call them a turd instead of third. They're turds.
Exactly.
3-13. Then one's 3-13. Now Tennessee lost a very close game. They had an opportunity to come back and tie that game to
Jeez.
20, but the ball was blocked and knocked down, and so Jacksonville won a very close one. And that's who Mac Jones plays for. Him and Brian Thomas seems to be forming a very formidable chemistry with each other. And so the game's over now. They got the first down. Now they're in the
Victory
game
formation. They're about to
victory
go up.
formation. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's over now. But that was a very close game. They made a
Congratulations
valiant
to
effort to
the
come back.
Vikings. Skull.
They've been scoring the whole game.
Skull.
Let me see. All right, but yes, Mason Rudolph had 193 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Tyjae Spears ran for 95 yards. The team ran for 159, and Calvin Ridley had 84 yards. Look, they had an opportunity to try to come back, but you see the ineptitude in both teams, and one of these teams had to win, and Jacksonville won. I don't have much to say about that particular game. If you want to chime in on that one.
No, not much chiming at all. I mean, it's a very slow moving train wreck. I mean,
Yes.
neither one of those teams are going anywhere. 4-12 Jaguars finished. Congratulations to y'all. I think we're the same record as my Panthers. Another cat.
They're all
And
vying for the top 4, top 5
right.
picks. Yes.
And they got them, and they're ahead, so they can all have those. Yeah, that game just wrapped up, as we said. I mean, just very hard to watch. I didn't even watch the entire game because it was just like, you know, those games that you know are so defensively good, and then you know those games that are just bad on both sides, and you're just playing sloppy football. This is just one of those things. It's just like whatever.
Yes.
Just hurry up and hit the all zeros for us so we can move on with life. Yeah, let's talk about the well, we
can go over Indianapolis and New York.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. The freaking New York pulled it off just when we were like, there's no way New York wins another game. And I mean, they put up a 40 burger and they had to, though, to win.
Yes.
25-33 over the Colts, minus Anthony Richardson.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco again, the
And
floating
he's
quarterback.
throwing the ball all over the place. I mean,
The
but
floating quarterback.
he threw 2 touchdowns and threw 2 interceptions. He had 303 yards, but he was throwing that ball all over the place. But again, in a losing effort, they lost 33-45. They had an opportunity to come back. He threw an interception, and then they won that game. But man, look, this is another game where we talk about records and different things like that. Malik Neighbors has broken the receptions record.
Yes.
He's got over 100 receptions. He's got over 1,000 yards. Man, they got potential there. Tyrone Tracy's a good running back for them too. They just need a quarterback. Drew Lock threw 309 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh, this is
Yeah.
all
What's
my.
up, Manny Finesse? He said, "What's good? What's good?" And Karen said, "Wow, the Giants won. Yeah, girl, like they won." And he said he's so effing mad right now. I know, Finesse. It's about 8 of y'all competing for number 1. Y'all and the Raiders, but now y'all both winning. So I don't know who I got. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get that.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor ran for 125 yards, 2 TDs. Alec Pierce, 122 yards, 1 TD, and Michael Pittman, 109 yards and 1 TD. Yeah, Joe Flacco balled out, but not enough to win the game. And it's just indicative of their season and where they at. They're 79 now, and New York is 3-13.
I mean, sitting across the ball from Drew Lock, the one and only Drew Lock. It just felt like a throwback game to me, honestly. I'm just like, wait a minute, who are the quarterbacks? What are we doing? And I mean, I don't even think New York has scored 45 points the whole season. I mean, they put up all of their last energy. And let's be honest, New York, y'all need to be saving that for next week because y'all probably not going to win. Let's be clear, but at least put up a good fight. Don't just go in there and lay out because I'm just like, and if Jalen Hurts is back, it's a wrap. Merry Christmas early for 2025 or Merry Christmas belated. Stick a bow on them. They are going and by the way, what was going on? The Eagles over there trying to fight. Folks was thrown out of this game right when they put up this player that had just passed away. He's born in 1945. I can't pronounce his last name. He played for the Eagles, and they were doing like a tribute to him. And next thing you know, they come back and they're like all in the tunnel fighting. Like, dudes, y'all, I mean, come on. We know y'all losing, but put up that same energy in the game.
That's the rivals, man. That's the rivals. That's that rival energy.
Who Tuesday, Friday can we get for? Who can we get a 4? Who Tuesday, Friday? I'm using that. I know what it means.
Yes.
Can we get? Oh, at 4. Y'all at the 4th place?
There's a lot of players you can get at 4, man. I mean, look, I know you think about 3 players, but you can't just think like that, man. This draft is going to be loaded too as well. It's just I know you're trying to get a quarterback. That's what he's saying. He's trying to get a quarterback, but I'll be honest with you, you might be better off getting a quarterback in the 2nd round. I'm not saying that Sanders and Cam Ward are not worth those first few picks, but there's some other players that are probably going to be worthy of that draft position than those 2 quarterbacks at those positions. But somebody's going to take.
Let me be clear: the order has been updated. The Giants are at 3 right now. Number 1 is the Patriots. 2 is the Titans. 3 is the Giants. 4 is the Browns. 5 is Jacksonville. 6 is the Jets, followed by my Panthers at 7. 8 is the Raiders. And let me just be honest with you. The Jaguars, Jets, Panthers, Raiders, Bears, all are literally the same number. They're literally all the same record. I don't know how they got it. And then the Saints follow them at number 10. So you got like 8 places that are all 4 and 12. Milrow is trash. And then he says the Browns lost, so they at 3. Okay, so it's 3. Okay, I got you. Oh, well, I guess this ain't
but the Browns are not going to pick a quarterback. I don't think they're going to pick a quarterback.
They still tied in with Deshaun. They tied in with him to 2050, basically.
They need offensive line. They need wide receiver. They need running back. They need a lot of stuff to build that team. So, I mean, if you're looking at quarterback, Shador might still be there. I'm just being honest with you. Shador and Cam Ward should be there. And then there'll be some other quarterbacks too. I don't know all the draft capital for New York, but I'm pretty sure they can find somebody that's viable, that can be a second round, a second day guy to actually plug in and not plug in immediately. Let Drew. You saw how Drew Lock was playing. Maybe Drew Lock can be a bridge quarterback for the rookie. So I mean, I wouldn't just be too enamored with or just hurt the fact that he said how many years Watson got left on the contract. I mean, they tied in. That's a lot of money in there. They're tied in. But with that said, I got a question for Almighty Finesse. Does the Giants did they do enough, which I don't think so, to keep Brian Dable's job? Does he keep his job as the coach?
Nope. They getting ready to clean house up there all the way. Everybody on that film that I talked about before Finesse got on here that was in on Saquon being traded, they are out. Like tomorrow's Black Monday. I don't even think we get to midnight with some of these people. We might start hearing this news like as soon as we get out of here.
Oh, no, not yet. It's one more game. There's still one more game.
They don't always wait. You know that, J Train. Once
no,
these
they've been
teams
doing
get
it, but
eliminated,
yeah. But I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll be one more game. They got one more game. I think most of them are going to wait. I think most are going to wait. So we'll see. Oh my God! But you're right. I agree. There's probably going to be some in the Giants. There's probably going to be some house cleaning there.
Yeah, let's talk about the Vegas and New Orleans game. That was a really competitive game for quite a while. 25-10.
For the first half, it was. I mean, Spencer Rattler looked good. I think the ineptitude and the holes that the Saints have just start showing itself. Like we're missing offensive linemen. We had no run game, and we just got embarrassed by a 3-12 team. I mean, the Raiders. And so, I mean, but that's just the epitome of what the season has been. New Orleans needs a quarterback. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think Spencer Rattler showed some really good things. He has some really good potential. He has great potential, but he needs a team around him. He's a guy that needs to sit and learn a little more and allow a team to be built around him. This is no team right now. The Saints do not have a team. And you looking at people like Alvin Kamara was out. Eric McCoy was out. Of course, the stud wide receivers and Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a recipe for disaster if you don't have the tools on the outside. I mean, I'm looking at the highlights right now of Tampa Bay. Not to beat them down, but Tampa Bay, they have their players in place, even with one of the receivers gone. But Mike Evans. He's about to break. We're talking about records being broken.
Yeah.
This guy.
So, and even in you guys' game, J Train, Brock Bowers broke some rookie records today. 7 catches for 77 yards, gave him 108 receptions for 1,144 yards. That's 1144, y'all. This season, eclipsing Mike Ditka, Chicago Bears great, 1961 rookie record as tight end mark. Of 1,067 yards receiving, and Puka Nakua's 2023 mark of 105 catches by a rookie at any position. So he also surpassed Darren Waller's franchise mark of 107 receptions in a season, which has stood since 2020. So Brock Bowers getting it done and getting a dub. I mean, and I guess we'll pivot on over to the Panthers. Panthers actually 82 IR replacements this season, an NFL lead only over the Cleveland Browns, who have 79 injured players that they've had to move around and manipulate. So we've been banged up. I know the Saints at the beginning of the season had about 40% of their line hurt. 82%, that's like your whole 82 people. That's almost your whole roster. It's a 90-man roster. That's literally everybody on that roster, including we saw Dalton in for a while. Now he's out. We saw Bryce. Every position's been rotated. I mean, I had people on my fantasy I was dropping, and then they show up on the game. You're like, it's a game-to-game thing. Finesse is saying Dayball coached his butt off because he knows he's out. Yeah, that's true. That's exactly right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't think, I thought the Saints could win their game, honestly, especially against Las Vegas. But, like, your team better than anybody knows your team. And you know the weaknesses. And like you said, you guys have had a banged-up line for the entire season ever since, y'all crunk out all those points in the beginning of the season, just was molly-whopping everybody. But when it came down to the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay, this is a divisional matchup. Everybody was banking on Carolina just like they were this time last year because it came up in my Facebook memories. Everybody in the style was rooting for the Panthers because they didn't want Tampa Bay to win. And then it would have came down between at that time New Orleans and the Falcons. But this year, if we had beat Tampa Bay, Atlanta probably would have won. However, it's predicted they are not going to win out. They're playing Washington at 8:20 tonight, Jaden Daniels, and it's a revenge matchup against their former coach, Dan Quinn, who is now the head coach of the Commanders. And Jaden Daniels is balling all the way out. And then, as if that's not enough, if they don't get taken care of tonight, the Panthers are surely not trying to go out on an L because for the last 5 seasons, we've split with the Falcons, and we've already taken our L for the season. So it's time for us to come down here and upset their little party.
Look, I mean, can you do it? Can they do it? I don't know. I think Tampa Bay is probably going to win the division. Atlanta is, like you said, they're not going to beat Washington. I mean, in Washington, unless Michael Penix goes up there and shows me something different, and he's got the weapons. I think the kid has a lot of potential, but again, he's going up against Jaden Daniels. He's not playing defense, and Atlanta's defense is they've gotten a little bit better as the games have gone along, but not great. And I think Jaden Daniels has shown that he has the potential to slice up a defense either in the air or on the ground. And he's been doing it the past few games. And they got an excellent opportunity to hit the playoffs. This is when the rubber meets the road, when you're going to see whether or not a team shows you who they are and say, look, we're at that point right now. We can get to the playoffs. We gotta lock this up. And I think Washington's going to do that against Atlanta. Atlanta's just been too wishy-washy the whole season.
Yeah, you can't. Excuse me. And if they had Kirk Cousins, I'd probably definitely say they're gonna take that L because he likes to play for other teams. No pun intended. But I will say Karen had a point. She talked about our defensive coordinator maybe gone for what? Like seriously, I don't. We've had too many injuries. This is only Evero's second season as DC. We did see Ron Rivera visit, but I don't think they're bringing him back in a coaching capacity. I think he was just visiting as a fan and supporting. Shout out to Steve Smith Sr. and Luke Kuechly, who are in their first year of eligibility. A Hall of Famer nods. And so I'm hoping they both get in. Luke Kuechly, I'll be sharing a video on the platform about how he literally has been known throughout the league as somebody that would know your calls. Like there's this video going around like he was like before they get set, he's like, they're going to call this. Like he was that good. And we surely missed him in Carolina. He retired early because of injury, subsequent concussions back to back. But just it's very hard to find someone like Luke Kuechly in the league today. And I'm not just saying that as a Panthers fan. I'm just saying because he just really is that good of a player.
I'm a New Orleans Saints fan, and I think he was a dog. So
yes,
yeah.
48-14, another 40 burger. So at least you guys played your game against the Raiders. Baker Mayfield threw 5 touchdown passes and was going everywhere. Bryce looked confident, and then there was a freaking duck on the field. And they did not stop the game. There was a duck on the field during live play, and the kick was blocked because people were paying attention to the duck and not to the play, and they ran it back for another touchdown. And I think at that point, when Tampa did that, the whole trajectory, we always say it's that one play that just kind of puts the needle in the balloon and pops it, and you just never come back from that. And that's exactly what happened with the Panthers. Not saying the other stuff, but I'm just saying for me, that was it. And it's absolutely crazy because I think the point spread was 7.5 by Vegas, and this is like freaking 30.5. This is insane.
As much as this loss was lopsided, let me say the positives about what I saw with the Panthers, particularly with Bryce Young. I've always look. You know me. I was an advocate for Bryce Young coming out of Alabama, and I said even when people was down on him in his first year, I said, look, he's gonna bounce back, man. He's gonna bounce back. But then I was a little shaky on him in the first beginning of the season because it looked like he lost his confidence.
Yeah,
but
he did.
This Bryce Young looks like the Alabama Bryce Young. That boy can carve up defenses like it's nobody's business when he's confident. When that second touchdown he threw, When he went up into the offensive line and threw that ball, it was a straight dime into
Yes, what
Adam
to
Thielen's hand.
Adam Thielen.
Yes, man, it was just
Two of
cold
them.
blooded. So he can play. Not only can play, he can play at a high level. You just need some help on that team. Your offensive line needs a little bit of help. He didn't have Chuba Hubbard this game, and so I think that would have been made the game a little bit more competitive had Chuba played in this game. And that I don't know if they would have won or not, but again, they've been playing competitive, and I think the run game has been a big factor for them as well. But
I mean,
Bryce is on his thing. He's on his game for sure.
If he could have done everything, I mean, you got an injured Xavier Legette that I didn't even think was going to be playing, but he played. But last week he had 2 crucial drops. Jonathan Brooks is out, another person they got in the draft. Chuba Hubbard, their big person, is out. We did see Coker a little bit today. We didn't see Moten that much. Like just the line. We saw Tommy Tremble a little bit, but overall, Bryce and Adam Thielen. It was their show today. And
what about don't you have an undrafted rookie in the name of Tolbert or somebody like that?
Yeah, we have we have Coker, and then we have Coker. Yeah, and then we have like
okay. I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking another team.
Yeah, no. So I mean, Carolina. I mean, it was just a lot for Baker to be throwing like that many yards. He had 359 yards and 5 touchdowns with no interceptions. Now, Bryce, I don't think Bryce had one. I'm gonna be honest with you. After they hit that 40, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. This is horrible. And I mean, he I don't know. He threw 2 and 1 yards to Mike Evans. Mike is looking like he's back better than ever. Even without Chris Godwin, they were able to just light out. And we talk about this in a divisional matchup all the time. And yeah, Coker is good. Jalen Coker is who we're talking about. That is part of our team here. And I mean, just a really good player, good stock. I mean, I don't know. It's going to take some off-season investment with a lot of these. But Bucky Irving, the sneaky running back, I tried to pick him up as a last-minute person to put on my fantasy because they had predicted him to ball out as nobody was paying attention to him. And he had 120 yards rushing today with 20 freaking carries.
And 77 reception yards.
Yes, for 77 yards. And Irvin had over 1,000 yards for the season now, 1,033, despite being used as a backup to Rachaad White. So I wanted to get him. He was a 4th-round draft pick, ran for 152 yards and a touchdown against the 32nd ranked defense in their overtime from December 1st. Now, we went overtime with them December 1st, J-Train. I don't know what the frick happened today. I'm freaking like so let's be clear. That game should not have gone overtime. I'm not going to say if it's because we just didn't play up to par or if it was just that one catch that the refs reversed that everybody talked about. Karen says Mike Evans needs to retire. Everybody's sick of him. We sick of him.
Don't say, hold on, let me say this. Don't say Mike Evans needs to retire. Mike Evans has 10. He's a baller. And first of all, I'm a Saints fan. I can't stand the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I love football and I love people who are great at their craft. And Mike Evans is definitely great at his craft. He's got 10 seasons that he's got 1,000 yards straight. 1,000 yards. He needs I think he needs 85 yards to get 1,000 next game. If he gets 85 yards, he'll have 11, and he has the record already for the most consecutive games with 1,000 seasons with 1,000 yards. So, Karen, you gotta chime in and give the man respect for that. But then he'll probably retire after that.
Well, so let's move on as we get ready to use these last 15 minutes. And happy holidays, everybody. This is our season finale in the 2024. But we're here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself, Mac, J-Train. Most of the time it's just them. But I jump on when I can. And hello, Steve-O. He said, yes. Bryant Gumbo, we talked about that earlier today on our earlier show. Just an announcer through the Super Bowl, everything. Excuse me, Greg Gumbel. Just unfortunate that he passed away. And I read somewhere where he had cancer. So
multiple myeloma or something like that.
Yeah, he's Bryant's brother. So he's also a broadcaster. Kara said, I know he's too great. She's talking about Evans again. I mean, tonight's game, as we kind of just pivot that way. Washington is favored by 4 against the Falcons. They're 8-7. Washington is 10-5. If Tampa had lost today, Washington would have automatically been in the playoffs. But now that Tampa's won, they have to win tonight. Even though, because the Eagles own their division, so they got to win to stay in. This is the first time both of these rookies, Michael Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels, are squaring off in their first primetime debut. They both went through the draft process together in a very quarterback saturated. Michael Penix was taken at 8, and of course, Jaden Daniels was taken much higher. And so it's going to be a good thing. Now, Daniels threw 5 touchdowns passes to beat Philadelphia. Now they just beat the Eagles, y'all, the same ones that blew out Dallas today. They ended the Eagles' 10-game winning streak. That's important to note, that when they need to pick it up, they pick it up. So Penix, on the other hand, completed 18 of 27 passes in their game for 202 yards in a rout of the New York Giants. But let's be clear, that was just a practice game for him. That was a great game for him to come into the league as his full game playing, because that was his first full game. And New York, has not played like they did today. Let's just be clear. And so that defense really held them in that game. I mean, it wasn't like he was super bad, but that defense of the Falcons is the reason why they really won. They had 2 picks that turned into conversions that caused them to win. Now, Dan Quinn, this is his first time facing the Falcons as a head coach since he left the Falcons. And actually, they fired him in the pandemic in 2020. Like, how you fire a coach in the pandemic? But they did, y'all. And so he was replaced by the interim now head coach, Raheem Morris. So look at how that plays out. The person that replaced you is now going against you for a very big position in the playoffs. And so the Falcons themselves, they need to be winning, because if they lose tonight, here's it going to shrug, because Tampa Bay has already solidified their spot. Right, J-Train?
Well, Tampa Bay has to win out. They got to win their last game. Who does Tampa Bay play in the last game? You guys, or no? You play Atlanta, right?
Tampa Bay is playing. Oh my God, I just had it. They are playing. They playing y'all, J-Train. Why you don't know that?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do know that. They play us. They got to win. Then if they win that game, they win a division. I mean, but if Falcons got to win out in order to win a division. If Falcons lose tonight and Tampa Bay wins next Sunday, then Tampa Bay goes to they win a division. They go to the playoffs.
Which is crazy, because the Falcons own a tiebreaker. They've already swept the Bucks. So, I don't know. We live here in the city. We really don't want to hear these Falcons fans' mouths, because we've already sat down. We just like, hey, we saving a place on the couch for y'all. Come on. But if they win, I mean, honestly, how would you? Because the year they went to the Super Bowl, it was just like, especially coming off the Panthers going and losing. I just really was like, I don't need another NFC South team to go. That looks horrible. And we're not trying to be the only ringless team in the division. But after so long, they were so happy. And it was like, okay, I live here. I was like, okay, if y'all win it, y'all got this new stadium, y'all deserve it. And so I wore red, one day I wore red, and just to support them. Now, I wouldn't wear no Falcon shirt. People was trying to get me to do it. I was like, absolutely not. Like, would not even buy that. What are your thoughts on, Atlanta winning the division over Tampa Bay? Like, do you have a preference? I mean, you live here in the city too, J-Train.
Well, let's just say both teams are heated rivals, but there is no heated rival like playing Atlanta. So I live here. I love the city. And I have people that actually like, why aren't you live here? Why aren't you a Falcons fan? I said,
exactly.
Are you crazy?
Right.
Yeah, you don't know the history of these two teams, man. Please.
Yeah, y'all hate each other. Y'all are worse. Y'all are the rivals within the rivalry.
Absolutely.
So, the Panthers always say, it's called the Battle of 85 when the Panthers play the Falcons. But some Falcons fans just be like, oh yeah, y'all just the game. Yeah, it's the Battle of 85, but we really just enemies with the Saints. Like, y'all literally be like Dallas and the Eagles. Or
man.
Cincinnati and the Browns or the Steelers. It's always those teams that literally like will go to blows for real. Like security got to be upgraded.
It's
Um,
deep-seated hate, Sonya. It's deep-seated. Everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Atlanta fans come to New Orleans, or we come, they come out. New Orleans fans come out here. It's a great time because I know a lot of people that they have parties. They after the game's over, these people get together and hang out, do everything.
Listen, I've gone to 2 games there. I be tailgating with y'all. I love it when I go out there, even after
but
a
during
hell.
the game, oh my goodness, this is like
Yes.
it's wartime.
Yeah, they be trying to call that little number on me when I go, but after the game, we all good. And Steve-O says Darnold was lifted up on people's shoulders.
I
Oh my
saw
God,
that.
it's gonna
I
make
saw
me
that.
hurt so bad. Like I miss Darnold in Carolina.
Let me
So let me ask you this: do you think, because everybody knows, unfortunately, that New Orleans went through Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and there was a lot of New Orleans residents that moved to Atlanta. Do you think that it was already that much of a deep rivalry before? Or do you think it worsened after that? Because I've heard different views of it.
Oh no, without a doubt. Before Katrina, it was deep seated. Trust me, I know. During the Deion Sanders days, I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
oh man,
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
dark. I
Yeah,
mean,
y'all had Mike Vick before them dogs then.
oh man, Mike Vick. Oh, I mean, I'm not. I will say this on air, and all you Saints fans out there who know me, look, I'll just keep it secret. I was undercover Atlanta Michael Vick fan for sure. Because I mean, it was just he was just different. Nobody ever saw
Yeah,
nothing like
Vick
that.
is awesome. He
So
got a
I
bad
was. I
deal.
mean, I watched Vick when he was playing for Virginia Tech. So I was like, and he was I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, you didn't see as a black man, a proud black man, you didn't see many black quarterbacks in front of your face, and to see this guy come out here and do these types of things, I was just amazed. And when he got drafted by Atlanta, I was sad about that because I would like to see him play somewhere else, not against us. But again, I went to the games, I saw him play live, and I was like, wow, just amazed. I'm glad we beat them at times, but they will beat us too. Ugh.
They showing Antonio Pierce now acting like he don't want the Super Bowl. He on his way out the door. Let's be clear. Just because they beat y'all, J Train ain't nothing. He in there acting like Suge Knight Jr. Karen,
Man.
you really gonna have to come on my show because I forgot. Karen has Atlanta roots. Like she got family out here, and I probably know who the attorney is that your sister works for because I'm in law school and I've worked for the courts for a long time, Karen. So we're gonna have to get you on here at some point. We've talked about this before, and I forgot she has a sister that's in the law field. So she's basically saying no matter what, and she went to high school here, she's not rooting for these Falcons. Sorry.
Those dusty birds.
They call themselves that. So the playoff implications are big. We still have a lot of places, but that NFC is ultra competitive. Now let's see. Jets are expected to start Aaron Rodgers in season finale next week versus the Dolphins, and that probably will be his last start. I just seeing this now. Pete Schrager is announcing this here, him with Michael Strahan, and they look disgusted. Let's be clear. The Patriots are moving up to first overall pick in the draft. The Giants dropped to number 4. And this is the OT built by Ford. So if any of this gets copyrighted, we're giving you a shout out, OT. Okay. We didn't try to take your stuff. We're just trying to get it out there to our folks. Okay. I mean, I don't know, J Train. So as we, talk about the last few minutes here of our finale, neither one of our teams did as well as we wanted them to. What do you see your team doing in the draft to try to help the Saints, especially with so many, people that needed backups that they just didn't have those people in place to take over for these injured Saints?
Well, they need to accumulate better players on the offensive line, solidify a fortress in front of a quarterback. If you're going to get a guy like Spencer Rattler to come out and play for you and to succeed and to get nurtured and grow, you got to build something around him to protect him. I mean, he's running for his life. And but he has time, you can see that he has the talent. So I don't think we should draft a quarterback. I think we have a quarterback in the makings in Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr. He's going to be there. We're tied to him for one more year, I think. And so I like having both those guys there. Derek as the bridge quarterback and Spencer the future. The wide receivers, I think we need a big guy either in free agency. We have two fast wide receivers, but they're small. They're small. They're not the prototypical number one guy that's like a T. Higgins. Somebody like T. Higgins, maybe we can get him in free agency. I wouldn't want to pay him the money that he's going to command because I don't think he deserves it. But I do think he's good enough to be like a great number two receiver. But he could be that guy that we can use as that big guy, that possession receiver with just enough speed to dominate maybe in the slot or on the as an X. And so, yeah, we can use wide receiver, and we probably can use another running back, and we can use some more defensive linemen. The guys are aging. As much as I see Cam Jordan, he's had a couple of sacks in the last couple of games. He hadn't had any for like.
I was thinking about him
2
earlier
games.
today. That's why he doing them Invisalign commercials. He done got his grill knocked crooked a few times, and now it's like, bro, what you doing on the field though?
Well, he's 34, 35 years old, so I think it's just almost that time. They say he's talking about coming back for a 15th season, man. I hope it's at a reduced role and reduced pay. He needs to take a pay cut. So
Yeah, pass out some water, sir. Boost the morale on the sideline.
he's the all-time sacks leader for the Saints. But that usually when somebody's at that point, that's telling you that they're 1 foot out the door.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. It's like you're in honor of at this point. Like, you know, okay,
Right.
we gonna go ahead and give you your flowers while you still here because you on your way out.
Right.
I guess I would say the same thing if I was asked the same question, J Train, because everybody knows I'm gonna be honest with you, it is depressing. Now I am, more positive that the Panthers look better this week. Going into this week, Bryce was ranked number 1 amongst quarterbacks at a 91.7 rating based off of our win against the Cardinals. But I am tired of losing every single season, and you cannot rebuild for 6 years in a row. You cannot fire a coach every other year and get a new quarterback every other year. And you cannot replace your entire line every 3 years. You cannot do that and sustain your fan base and sustain, more than that, your team. You're getting real talent. You're bringing the number 1 draft pick into your organization that is not ready to receive him. And he's having to work double to try to solidify his own standing, his own safety. He has to run for his life. I mean, I guess now we're not seeing a fearful Bryce because he's just like, y'all, this is what it is. I'm running to make sure I don't get hit. But when he gets hit, he jumps up like a champ. He don't lay there, and he's one of the smallest quarterbacks in the league. And he still takes these hits from these big defenders because your O-line is folding like lawn chairs. Now, they've done a little bit better, but I think it's because they're starting to make more creative plays for Bryce that are customized just for him. Because one thing we all know, when you switch out quarterbacks, you got to get a whole new play system. When you switch out coaches, you got to get a whole new play system. So every time you're switching these moving parts, you're bringing in a whole new play system, and everybody's got to learn from scratch. So your veterans that are already there, they've already learned 3-4 different playbooks, and every year is something. You can't sustain the morale of your team like that, and it shows on the field because their progress is not where it should be, and then they're losing. You ever wonder why teams fight? Because they're frustrated. They're tired of losing. Look at the teams that's fighting. Look at Dallas.
Well, let's say this. Let me say this before we got to go. Detroit was losing for a very long time. They figured something out. They figured out a blueprint. They drafted well. They hired well. They got an excellent GM. They got an excellent coaching staff, and everybody's bought in. And you get young players. Everybody's got to start getting young. You guys are young. Get more young players. Keep your coach that you have now. And I think the blueprint is there that you can. She said, Kenny Pickett is got some broken ribs. So look, his ribs are saucy. Them ribs are saucy right now. So so Tanner McGee, they and Jalen Hurts coming back, but he probably won't come back for the last game. They don't really need him in the last game. Tanner McGee can play the last game, and they'll be all right.
Yep. Well, guys, our time has flown. We got to make sure this stays on an hour so we can flip this at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is NFL Download, J Train, myself, Sonya, Mac, the great host, Northeast Professional Sports. We wish you all a happy new year. We'll see you all in 2025. Be blessed. Thanks for all the likes, love, shares, and check us out on Northeast Professional Sports. Good night.
You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.